Tonight, our first speaker is Joe. Please help me welcome Joe to the stage. Is it Joe? Oh, Lucy. That's what I meant to say. Sorry, Lucy. Jesus. Wrong paper.
I'm Joe. I'm an alcoholic. I'm Lucy. I'm an alcoholic. Kirk, you did not tell me that this was going on YouTube. Are you? All right. Can you hear my heart beating? Okay. I'm Lucy. I'm an alcoholic. My sobriety date is July 10th, 2017. So I just passed a year and a half sober, which is incredible. I have a sponsor who I worked the steps with and continue to meet with every week, and we talk on the phone. And I have 2 home groups that I go to our group conscience meetings, and I'm involved, and I'm there every week, and that has saved my life. So I guess I never know where to start, but I think it's worth mentioning that I wouldn't be alive if it weren't for Alcoholics Anonymous, because my mom was an alcoholic. She got sober 2 years before I was born, and there's no chance in hell that my dad would have married her if she had stayed drinking the way that she was, and no way that there was any chance of me being brought into this world if she didn't get sober. So I really have Alcoholics Anonymous to thank for my life, just like from the start. But let's see, I grew up in New Jersey, right outside of New York City. I had a relatively normal childhood. Things went pretty smoothly for me until about puberty, the usual. And I started drinking when I was 14. My first drink was followed by my first 10 drinks, ending in me, puking on some poor woman's clothes in the back of her car. She's giving me this ride home, and 12 hours of vomiting and apologizing to my ancestors for the shame that I had brought onto them. And I just remember my mom telling me after the fact, that is exactly how her first time drinking looked. But that didn't stop me, of course. I loved the feeling of being inebriated. I loved the feeling of, that ease and comfort, that adrenaline, that sense of I could be anyone, I can talk to anyone, I can do anything, that stuck with me. And so through high school I drank, it started with every weekend, and then by, definitely my junior year, I was drinking during the week and doing other things, trying to be sober as little as possible. When I was 18, I moved out to Prescott to go to Prescott College, which was great for me because I didn't have anyone to monitor my behavior anymore. And I immediately moved into houses. I didn't have to live in dorms. So basically, I feel like my 4 years in college can be summarized by having the best of intentions to learn and to make connections and to do the school thing, and my actions not aligning with that at all, because any free time that I had was filled with getting drunk, mostly. I think I must have drank literally 2,040s in the 4 years that I was in college, because it was 340s a day, very easily, because everybody that I surrounded myself with drank the way that I did. I hand-selected all of the people in my life because I couldn't be around people that put my problem in perspective, so I just surrounded myself with people who had a similar desire to not be sober. And yeah, it didn't go well for me. I ended up in the hospital a couple of times. I embarrassed myself a lot. I ended up in places that I never ever wanted to be. I'm kind of blown away right now because we spun this wheel that has topics, and it landed on higher power, and I was not sure how to feel about that. But then a man walked in right after I spun the wheel, and it's someone that I need to make an amends to, and it's someone from my time in college, and I don't even know that he knows why I need to make an amends to him, but I'm going to have to do that after this meeting. Because I fucked up a lot of relationships, not only with friends or loved ones, but with professors and people who like really wanted me to be okay, and I couldn't. Let's see. I graduated and got a shitty job and got into a relationship with another alcoholic, and then I got a better job and was working at a school, and my drinking just really escalated at that point. As we know, like, it's just a downhill spiral, and the way that looked for me was just almost every single night I was drinking to a blackout. You know, like, it used to be somewhat funny to hear people tell me what I did when I was drunk, and it definitely reached the point where it was like I couldn't hear it. I felt so deeply ashamed of myself because people would tell me, like, you stop using words, like, you're not speaking English, you're trying to communicate and you don't know how to talk. Or I would fall down, give myself concussions, like, just the whole 9 yards. And somehow I never got in legal trouble, but the pain and suffering that, like, I caused myself was just becoming more and more apparent to me, especially because I was going to work at this school and I'd like have to leave the classroom to go vomit, like, you know, leaving a group of kindergartners so you can go puke because you're so hungover from the night before. Like, that's some dark shit. But yeah, the turning point for me was really unexpected. The alcoholic that I was living with, my boyfriend at the time, started to experience like liver failure, and then had acute pancreatitis and ended up in the hospital. And I remember, like, he's in the ER and I have to make like 3 trips to C-Stop in the couple of hours that he's in the ER because I can't be sober through that. And then he gets, you know, taken to Phoenix, and I'm just on a bender for a month, and he's trying to get sober and I'm still drinking, and it just like flipped the whole thing on me. Like, suddenly there was this mirror, this person that I did most of my drinking with was sober, because if he wasn't, he was going to die a painful death, and I could not stop. I couldn't stop. And the last night I drank was like no worse than any other night. It was very normal for me to drink 2 or 3 bottles of wine, like very normal. But for some reason that night, I just remember sitting on the counter of my kitchen and just saying, like, I can't do it anymore. I was so tired of breaking my own heart. I was so tired of being caught in that cycle. And he just said, would you consider going to a meeting? And I said yes. And then the really miraculous thing is that the next day, well, it wasn't the next, it was 2 days after that, I actually went to a meeting. You know what I mean? So many times I had said, I'm going to do something different. And this time I actually did. I did something different. And I started coming to meetings. I couldn't commit to being sober long term, but I could commit to being sober for the day. And that's just how I operated for a while. I would go to a meeting every day. I got connected with people. I got phone numbers. I had a lot of people on my side really, really early, and that was apparent to me. Like, these people actually give a shit. These people really want me to be well. These people really want me to learn how to live life. And so I kept coming back. And I would say a couple months in, it kind of shifted for me. It was like, I want this, you know, I really want this. And that feeling has only grown over the last year and a half. That today, even if I could drink like a normal person, I wouldn't want to. I see the destruction that this disease causes in my life and everyone else's life. And even for people that aren't alcoholics, alcohol is terrible for you. It doesn't lead to any good. And all of the reasons that I used to think I needed to drink, like to cope with anxiety or depression, or to get through a day, or to socialize, or to have relationships, I see now that all of those things I can do sober. And not only that, but like this life has given me, living sober has given me a sense of like purpose and usefulness that I've never had in my life. And finally that divide between my intentions and my actions, like my thoughts, feelings, and actions are like aligned. And it's pretty incredible to see what kind of life I'm able to live when that's the case, and when I have not only my own little brain to refer to for what to do next, but I have this whole community to tell me what to do when I don't know, and I have some relationship with a higher power that I don't understand that tells me that I need to come speak at this meeting, and tells me that I need to make an amends to this person after this meeting, and tells me what the next right step is. I really thought that when I quit drinking, my life was over. Like all hope that I had for a life of like joyfulness and some feeling of being carefree, or I don't know. I thought it was over, and it turns out that it was the beginning. The darkest moment of my life was actually what opened up this really bright, hopeful today for me. And if you're new or if you're coming back, I just really hope you stay. I really hope you stay. Thanks.
Thanks, Lucy.